Hi, I'm Camille. Welcome back. This is Hill with Camille podcast. Today we are talking about rebound or love. Which is it? Have you been in a long term relationship? You're breaking up, you're going through a hard time, and you met somebody new. And man, you feel alive again. Wow, she or he is making your toes curl. Your happy sex is amazing, and you can't believe you lived without him this long. What if I said this may not last forever and this could be a fix that you're using to make yourself feel better? We call that rebound relationship. I don't want to burst your little bubble, but it may not be a permanent relationship for you. Now, maybe you don't care and that's okay and it is temporary and you know that. But I think it's important that you know that you're in a rebound relationship, if you're in a rebound relationship, so that you can navigate and know the pitfalls and the benefits, I guess there are if you are in a rebound relationship. And then you also know for that person what they can expect from you and what you can expect out of yourself. But look, if you find yourself breaking up from a long term relationship, you might need some time. It's important to take time and process through what's your fault, what's their fault. Maybe it's nobody's fault, but you got to get to that place. It just didn't work. We ran our course, etc. But you want to give yourself a little time to grieve and work through what you could work on within yourself and become better at. If you really have a hard time being alone, and that's why you're in a new relationship right after the last relationship failed, it's because you're having a heck of a time being with yourself. You're in pain. You're in a lot of pain. So I consider rebound relationships in the category of a drug. So it's like a shot of whiskey, it's a joint, it's a pill, it's something you're doing or using to make yourself feel better and you're coping with this relationship or the shot of whiskey, etc. You're making yourself feel better and you're avoiding yourself. You're running from your emotional self into the rebound relationship so that you don't have to deal with your internal dialogue or sadness or grief, etc. So if you're there, know where you are. If you're drinking, know what you're drinking for. Look, I think I think people need to talk. People need to deal with and talk about and work through their emotional heartaches. Look, breaking up with people, it feels like death. It is one of the most difficult, unstabilizing things you could ever go through is an ending of a long-term relationship. So finding yourself dealing with the emptiness or that pit, that pain, literal pain in your stomach is awful. And you'll do anything to make yourself feel better. There's no doubt about it. It is a heartache. It's a weird pain because it isn't something you can take an Advil for. It's not inflammation necessarily. It really is like a soul ache. It is a mind ache. You can't quit thinking about it, but you just feel sick to your stomach. I think women experience heartache in their heart and their solar plexus. Men feel it mostly in their heart area. And you might get heartburn. You really could be having physical symptoms of anxiety, panic attacks. And so when you meet somebody new or someone's chasing you, finding you attractive and sex is incredible, it is like a drug. It feels like a drug. And you may say, I just have never felt this alive. This is a great connection. This is my soulmate. Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. But if you have baggage and you haven't processed through your stuff, I kind of will say maybe it isn't your soulmate. Maybe it's your form of pain relief as you are getting through grieving a recent departure from somebody. Here's some signs. Here's just some good guidelines and some signs if it is a rebound relationship. On some level, when you're honest with yourself and you're in your moment of truth and it's quiet, you kind of have a sense. You know that this maybe isn't your forever person, but you don't really want to end it because you need them and it does feel good and it's new and it's exciting and exhilarating. You're getting something out of it. I mean, there's something benefiting you for this relationship, with this relationship, but they are helping you distract from your pain. They're helping you fight a battle. I mean, I think I've seen this so many times. I had an ex-husband do this. They pick these. He picked a woman that was fierce. I mean, she was just fierce and kind of a mouthy, mean. She was pretty mean girl. And she fought his battle with me. I mean, it was just interesting. I went through a pretty rough time. He got one of my friends pregnant. I went through a major betrayal of my first husband. And I learned a lot about what to do and what not to do in relationships. And now relationships are my favorite subject to work on because I've failed at so many. I did all the wrong things, and now I know how to steer people and say, don't do what I did. But this relationship I went through was just gut. It was just gutting. It gutted me. And he picked a woman that I knew was not somebody he really wanted, but she wanted him. And so she was literally fighting me. And it was real terrible. And as soon as the fight was over, she was gone. He got rid of her. He didn't want her. And I knew that. But he used her because he didn't want to have to deal with me. He just put her in front of me. And she was a mean woman. She was horrible. I've seen that often, actually. I've seen that some people just get with someone quickly, but this person's fierce or they know the law. I've actually had clients that get with an attorney, and that attorney takes their ex-husband to town, So it's this person's useful. They become useful to you. So if you're with someone that you really don't see going to family dinners, or maybe your in-laws or your parents, or or you don't see your children, getting along with them, that's probably, again, not happily ever after. This is not someone you're going to spend your future with. So you kind of already know maybe that it's not your future, but they're fun for now. You may want to be with them and then not want to be with them some days. It feels hot and cold. It's not a consistent flow of energy. You lie to them. You pretend to be someone you're not. You pretend to be okay when you're not. You don't want to give them boring details. You want to keep the fun going or keep them doing something for you. So you'll limit the truth. You won't tell them your troubles. Maybe you don't talk about your divorce, or you don't talk about your finances. You don't talk about children issues. And if I say, well, why wouldn't you talk about that? That's going on in your life. That's a big deal. That person cares about you. They'd want to know, well, I just don't want him knowing everything about me yet, because you just don't want to include them in your whole world. That's not a future person. So another sign that you're with a rebound relationship is someone was right there, right as you were ending or breaking with somebody. And it was so quick and so sudden, and it's a whirlwind. They are whining and dining, or you're whining and dining them. They're not your typical type. Like, this isn't somebody that you'd go after, and people would look at you guys together and say, I'm not sure if I get that, but okay. So it kind of seems like it is off or random. And you might have people say to you, wow, that just doesn't seem like your type. So you might hear some feedback from people that are honest with you, and they just don't see it, or they're surprised by it. Or they might say, gosh, it seems so sudden. You just broke up, or your divorce isn't final yet. So if people are kind of commenting on your quick pick of a new relationship, it's because it probably is a rebound. If you're still in pain and you're still grieving and dealing with, or in a major battle, or you're going through a lot of trauma with this breakup, then you're with somebody new, probably for sure this is a rebound, because you're not able to pick wisely just yet. You're still in the throes of a battle with an ex relationship. So, and if you're still going through a divorce, if you're still in turmoil with this ex relationship, what do you have really right now to put forth in a new relationship? What's your bandwidth emotionally? Can you emotionally contribute? Can you emotionally offer something? And or are they fixing you? Are they helping you? Like, what is that relationship really based on? The new one, what is it really based on? Is it based on saving you, or you needing help? Or are you throwing energy and money and everything into this new person because you want to distract yourself from your life? You're just kind of throwing yourself into their life. So again, is it based on balance and, reasonable needs? Or is it major codependent? And is there a level of chaos? Is it trip and travel? Is it let's go play and hike and climb and have a lot of sex? And again, does it have a distraction factor to it, really? It's kind of like if you're drinking for socially, if you're drinking socially, or if you're drinking to drunk. Are you drinking to get drunk? It seems similar, so it kind of has a altered mood effect. People feel they get altered when they drink, they get altered when they do drugs. You might feel altered when you're in this relationship. If you're glued to your phone, if you're, can't wait for that person to call you, you're obsessed, you feel like you're drunk on love, high on that romance. That's, again, another indication that this relationship is a rebound. If you have a fear of being alone, if you're really having a hard time being alone, then again, you're probably with somebody because you need to be with somebody, not because you're ready to be or you want them. Let's see here. You also can't really fully commit to major future promises. again, it's fun to go travel with them. It's fun to spend time, dinners, they'll take their gifts, etc. But when it comes to taking a ring, when it comes to getting engaged, making a promise, a big promise for the future, you can't pull that trigger. You just know you're not ready for that. So that's another indication that you're probably in a rebound relationship. And it isn't fair ultimately in the end to either of you, to you or to the person you're rebounding with, because they might think this is real, And I've found myself in the past with someone who I think was using me because he was going through a rebound relationship. I was the rebound relationship, I think. And I think that he was still kind of on the run, and I feel like he let women save him and help him and fight his battles. So he'd find strong women. And then I think he was with them for a time. And then when he didn't need them to take care of him, he moved on. Still kind of doing that. So that's his character traits. I've learned a lot since that a long time ago. But if you see someone like this, you can tell that this person really has a real hard time self-soothing, managing themselves. They just cannot be alone. So they'll do anything to be with you. And when I was with that person, I remember the conversations they didn't seem real. And if I asked certain questions, I don't know, there was just not a deep conversation. Like he didn't want to go there. And so I just kind of chalked it up to, well, it was maybe too emotional, or he didn't want to deal with it. The truth is he didn't want to deal with it. And we're supposed to have fun. So it was all supposed to be about all fun. But eventually the fun wears down. The truth comes out. There is a double life happening. There's this private life that's not getting really talked about. And then you just seem to need to be the entertainment or, go. But at some point things have to settle down. If you're going to be with each other long term, you got to settle into a routine and, kind of get in a situation where you're cohabitating, et cetera. But if things just never calm down, if there's always this chaos or this rush or this pressure to keep going and living it up and drinking every day or partying all the time, that's again someone who's not able to just manage their emotions. They need to keep the distraction going. So those are all symptoms and signs of someone who's running emotionally and needing the relationship to give them that fix, like a shot of whiskey, like some other drug, so that they can distract themselves from what they don't want to feel or think about themselves. How do you know you're with someone that it's real, it's love? Because they're saying all the right things, and this is hopefully a little bit of distance between you and your past relationship. It's not, before the relationship finally ended. It's you've got months or years or you've had some time to process and think and grieve and cry and take accountability and see what you did wrong, what they did wrong, and then make peace with it. If you have peace with the departure of your past relationship, you're probably more relationship ready. And if you meet somebody, even if you are not fully processed through all the grief and the sadness of the ending of a relationship, and you meet somebody, here's kind of how you know that, this person, maybe there is a potential with. You kind of have this sense of uncertainty, like you're not quite sure if this person's love, and you have a healthy skepticism, and you're going slow. You're going to take your time, but you sense that this is somebody with whom you could have a future with. You just feel like the values are similar. You just feel good when you're around them. There's open dialogue. You feel like you can be yourself. So this is a calming influence. This doesn't feel like hype or pressure. And there could be fun. There could be some enjoyment, but it's not rushing for the thrill, get to the sex, get to the derobing. It isn't like a fix. It isn't like a drug. And you're not in a hurry to go travel and run away together. This isn't about making each other feel a certain way. It's about being who you are, they're being who they are, and there's a connection. And it's usually more in a calm state of mind, not a distracted state of mind. There's more connection and more vulnerability with these type of relationships. If you found someone that could be love, you have this strong connection around them, and there are similar values. You have this affinity. You feel good when you're with them. They feel good when they're with you. And you're still nervous. You still have some concerns, normal, but your desire to be close to them will overpower your fear. And it isn't like it's going to, they're not going to make you not be afraid, but you would rather take a risk. You feel like you're safe enough to take a risk and disclose your inner thoughts, your vulnerabilities, and talk about real stuff. In fact, you want to share your broken pieces. You want to share what you did wrong last relationship. You want to confess to them in a way what you've gone through, where you've been, what you've gone through, who you are, because you want them to know you and you want to know them. See, that's the difference is the conversations are meaningful, maybe they're emotional, but they're significant. And there's a risk. You feel at risk sometimes when you're sharing because you're talking about some things that not everybody knows about you. You're trusting, and they're trusting you. There's a mutual sharing that's happening. So you're getting deeper. There's a deepening happening. And again, when in doubt, you just want to take your time. You want to go at a pace that you can handle. And if you're in a conversation with someone and they want more and more, look, nothing's wrong with saying to them, that's all for now. I'm comfortable sharing more later, but I don't want to share any more right now. This was comfortable for me, and we'll have more time later. Like, it doesn't feel like there should be a pressure cooker to get to know somebody, getting to know somebody in the right amount of time, because if it is meant to be, they're sticking around and you'll stick around. So relationships shouldn't be, a fast and furious whirlwind kind of thing. At some point, the whirlwind has to die down. And about 120 days in, around the fourth month, relationship honeymoon phase is lifted. People stop, just looking perfect, and like there's more of a realness to the relationship about 120 days in. So just know that's kind of a time frame. If you really want to get to know somebody, you're going to really start seeing some of their true colors 4 months in. And I will tell you that the best relationships are about 10 years in. And I know that's a long time. 10 years is a long time. But 10 years is kind of when, usually the power struggle phase is gone. You can say everything to each other. You probably already have said everything to each other. You know how they operate. The trust should be well established. And you're not wondering if they're cheating, or you're not concerned about them being trustworthy. You do trust them. You got 10 years that kind of gives you a little bit of it should give you security. I mean, not that you shouldn't keep trying and to impress your spouse and please each other. You should. But there seems to be when there's a full acceptance of each other around 10 years in. And it's also ironic that around 10 years is a lot of when relationships go through a divorce. And that's usually around, when maybe we got a house, we have a car, a couple of kids, and people's discontent, like their contempt for each other, kind of starts surfacing. So I think 10 years is a turning point. You're either really going to stay together forever, or that's the time when you break up. So I don't know what there's kind of again, it's a significant number. It's a significant era in a committed relationship. So yeah, 10 years. I'm not saying it's a guarantee you'll always be together, but it's usually an indication if you're beyond 10 years, it's good. You're mostly good to last, So there you have it. That's kind of my thoughts about rebound relationship, rebound love. Look, I think relationships deserve a lot of conversation, and they deserve patience and time. And look, the emotional maturity of either partner, that's as deep as you can go. If you've got an emotionally immature person, you're not going to have deep conversations that they can't handle. So in picking a partner, make sure that you can go deep emotionally, you can resolve things, that person, that you can handle their stuff if they've got concerns with you. How do they handle stress? How do they deal with being upset? Do they get in attack mode? Are they judgmental? Do they reject you? Are they stonewalling? Do they abandon? How do people deal with you when they're mad? How do they deal with their exes when they were mad? You want to know these things about each other. How do you deal with stress? What's the most stressful thing they've ever gone through? How do they handle it? Is there a story about it? Do they tell the story about it now? Are they kind to people? Are they nice to people that they have no reason to be nice to? Someone who's an Uber driver, or someone serving you food. Are they kind? Do they see them as people? So you really want to, start looking at their behavior. Actions say so much more than their words, especially the first 4 months in, because the first 4 months, they're going to look perfect. They're going to act perfect. You're not going to see any cracks probably until about 120 days. And then power struggle phase begins. And that's more, no, I'm doing it my way. And, and I'm not going to be told what to do by you. And that can last 4 months to, for 4 years. I mean, it can last forever. But power struggle phase is mostly around setting parameters, and it's like it's boundaries. It's really boundaries. And if people are awake and aware and mature emotionally, that can happen, rather quickly. And you may power struggle forever, but it doesn't have to be deal breaker conversations. So relationships are my favorite thing to talk about. I love working with clients. I love working with couples. I love working with, all sorts of relationships, whether you're in a marriage, whether you're dating, whether you're siblings, whether you're grandparents raising grandchildren. I just got people in my life that come see me for relationship help. So if I can help you, if you'd like to book some time with me, please get on my website at healwithkimile.com. That's HEAL with KIMILE.com. And you can also text me at my mobile number, 801-809-2222. Thanks for listening and have a great day. Bye now.